The Red Terror, or Checka, conjures up images of public execution, mass hysteria, and brutal torture. It was headed by a man named Felix Dzerzhinsky. Felix Dzerzhinsky was a Polish aristocrat who turned communist. Felix was arrested 5 times by Russian imperial police for his pro-revolutionary antics. Felix was imprisoned from 1897 to 1908, escaping from Siberia again and again. His final and longest arrest was from 1912 to 1917. Felix got released when Russian Revolution was started.
On December 20th, 1917, the Checka was created. It was a Bolshevik campaign created to oppress counter-revolution and intimidate the Russian population into obeying the government. They were later used to eliminate opposition and threats to power. Felix Dzerzhinsky, the former convict, was chosen to lead this organization that targeted any individual or group that threatened Bolshevik rule. Dzerzhinsky came from a rich family. He was feared but not very respected. He targeted specifically Tsarists, liberals, non-Bolshevik socialists, members of the clergy, kulaks, or affluent peasants, foreigners, and political dissidents of all stripes. The Checka carried out 8,500 summary executions in the first year, and 10 times that amount were arrested, interrogated, detained, tried, or sent to prisons. In the summer of 1918, there was a fast-growing anti-Bolshevik movement in non-industrial areas around the country. This was all fueled by the closure of the Constitutional Assembly, suppression of the other political parties, surrender of the troops at Brest-Litovsk, the revolt of the Czech Legion, and introduction of war communism. On July 17th, Checka agents in Ekaterinburg assassinated the former Tsar Nicholas and his family. As anti-Bolshevik revolts intensified, Lenin called for a ruthless mass terror and merciless smashing of counter-revolutionary activity.
On August 9th, Lenin issued his hanging order, instructing communists in Penza to execute 100 dissident peasants as a public deterrent. On August 17th, Moisei Uritsky, a Checka official, was assassinated by a young cadet officer named Kanagaiser as revenge for hanging his friend. 2 weeks later, there was another assassination attempt, this time on Lenin, while visiting a factory in Moscow. Fanya Kaplan shot Lenin in the chest and shoulder. He was in critical condition for many weeks after the event. Kaplan was arrested, interrogated, and tortured by the Checka before being shot. Before she died, she wrote a letter saying, "I do not think I succeeded in killing him. If I regret anything, it is that. He is a traitor to the revolution. I lay the responsibility for the treacherous peace with Germany and the dissolution of the Constituent Assembly at his feet." Bolsheviks revived Katorgas, prison and labor camps, operated by security agencies of Tsarist governments, would become gulag camps in the 30s. On September 5th, the Central Committee issued a decree calling on the Checka to isolate enemies and throw them into concentration camps. In October, Checka commander Martin Latsis referred the Red Terror to a class war with the bourgeoisie, so the Checka began picking out their serious threat. So they targeted enemy socialist revolutionaries, more than 800 socialist revolution members and officers in a week, and thousands more were thrown into concentration camps. Former Tsarists, liberals, Mensheviks, Orthodox church members, foreigners, anyone who dared sell food or goods for profit were also thrown in camps. The Checka had now grown to over 200,000 people.
Speaking out against the Bolsheviks, having distant ties to the old government, dressing like bourgeoisie, even in practical jokes, attracted Checka attention. Historians believe over 100,000 people were killed during the Red Terror, not including the Civil War. It was a 2-year period of violence, and extra-legal killings developed in 1918, carried out by the Checka and Felix Dzerzhinsky. They specifically targeted whites, liberals, clergy, and peasants who resisted. Historians debate whether it was made because of anti-revolutionary revolts or it was invital. Either way, it was a terrible tragedy that rocked post-World War I Russia.